You know, the lobsterman statue here in front of the Nick really embodies Maine's most romantic notions about itself. Here's a rugged Anglo-Saxon dude wrestling his daily bread from the sea. I mean, just look at that manly face. You can practically hear his down east accent. Hey, that fellow's a real Maineâ. Of course, the artist who sculpted it was a real Maineâ too. His name was Kahill. He was a Middle Eastern immigrant who served the U.S. Army in 2 world wars, and the city dedicated his bronze creation here in this square 40 years ago this week on July 27, 1977. Kahill came to Portland from Lebanon in 1909 when he was 14 years old. His brother Joseph, who was a portrait painter, was already here. You know, Lebanon was under Ottoman rule at that point, so when World War I broke out, he was labeled an enemy alien. That didn't stop him from signing up in the army and serving in France. After the war, he studied art in France for a while. Back in Maine, he worked as a photographer and an artist. The legislature commissioned this lobsterman statue from him in the 1930s. They wanted it for the Maine Pavilion at the 1939 World's Fair in New York. Nobody remembers just how or why, but Kahill chose real-life lobsterman Elroy Snooty Johnson of Bailey Island as his model. Yep, this fellow's a real guy. The original plan was to carve it in plaster and then have a bronze version made, and that was going to cost $10,000. Unfortunately, the legislature only ponied up about $1,500. So instead of a real bronze statue, Kahill just slapped a coat of bronze-colored paint on her and called it good enough. Shipped her off to New York. Now that's real Maine style. It was a big hit. Millions of people saw it over the 2 years the fair was open. When it came back to Portland in 1940, it went on display first in a hotel lobby, and then at City Hall. And that's where it got vandalized. Some yahoos broke off the lobster's legs and Snooty Johnson's plaster fingers. Eventually, it went into storage at a government warehouse, where moisture and rodents did even more damage. Meanwhile, the Second World War was on, and Kahill volunteered again. This time he was wicked useful in North Africa. He could speak English, French, Italian, and 5 Arabic languages. He even acted as a guide for Churchill and Roosevelt when they visited North Africa. And they said he even did secret spy work in Casablanca, kind of like Humphrey Bogart, only real. After leaving the army in 1947, Kahill settled in Casablanca, where he ran an elegant nightclub for years. He died in 1965. The legislature finally funded a bronze version of his statue in 1974. Now, booth-based sculptor Norman Terrian did the honors after fixing the damaged plaster version. Besides this one, there's a copy on Bailey Island, where old Snooty Johnson was from, and one in Washington, D.C. too. Snooty Johnson died in 1973, so neither man ever saw the bronze version, and they say the 2 men never met again after Kahill carved him in plaster. But I think they'll always be together, right here, in bronze, showing us what a crusty Yankee and a brand new Mainer can get done if they work together.